Why should the people listen to you?
Because, unlike some other Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent.
Yes! So today on the channel we are comparing two cuts of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from 1991. First one, theatrical cut, and then the later released extended cut. So let's see what's different. So the extended cut of the film has about 17 minutes of extra footage, one major scene in a different place. So I'm using the VHS version for the theatrical cut, and then the extended cut is on a Blu-ray. And the extended cut, I believe, is the standard release on the Blu-ray and DVDs now. So I haven't included the opening titles because they're the same on both versions. So the first change in the film is in the first few scenes. So let's have a look.
Show them the courage of Allah.
So the first big change is the amount of violence in this new cut, which is odd because both versions were PG, but times have changed. So the next scene we'll look at, Robin's already back in Britain and gone from the White Cliffs of Dover to Nottingham very quickly. So the only change there is just a few seconds of blood that's on the guard's face, but he does appear late in the film with a broken helmet. So the next scene we'll look at is with the late, great Alan Rickman hamming up as the Sheriff of Nottingham. So this is the start where the extended cut takes a big change.
He has a companion, a dark-skinned foreigner with a marked face of Islam.
Yes, I'm sure it'll take an army to match these rogues. I trust Locksley's visited his manor and found the home fire still burning.
Time for portents, Cal.
So as you can see in the extended cut, the witch is watching him. The sheriff is summoned to her below stairs. So I had to speed that bit up because that scene actually takes place later in the theatrical cut. So it does get copyrighted quite easily. So the scene where the sheriff visits the witch is now later in the theatrical cut after Robin's been to his family home and found his father dead. So the next scene, there's a bit extra in the fight at the riverbank, which is behind me.
I'll be buggered.
So the only change there is the removal of the "I'll be buggered" line, which I suggest you don't Google as it's a British slang term. So the next scene is with the witch and Alan Rickman's Sheriff of Nottingham.
These days, the need for mercy is greater than ever.
Well, my other god calls. Oh, don't upset yourself, Mortiana. Appearances are important to that lot, especially on a Sunday. You know, my true faith lies in the old way. Although, frankly, sometimes I can't see much difference. Did my parents truly tell you to instruct me in all this?
Their dying wish. Come on.
We beseech thy blessing, Lord.
So it appears the theatrical cut has a lot less witches in it. A bit more information on Sheriff Nottingham's past with the witch, and a shot of Robin sneaking into the castle dressed as a peasant. So now there's another small scene with Alan Rickman.
Full moon, before the barons come back. Now, so. Keep the switches slow.
So it's another scene with the witch put back in, which is just panning out her story more than anything. It's another scene with the witch and Alan Rickman down in her lair.
The tongue offends thee.
Whose?
One who writes all.
That horrible little scribe, his tongue.
Cut it out.
So the basis of the extended cut seems to be that the witch is not a witch, but just knows everything because she's spying on everyone. So next is a scene from one of the highway robberies.
Surrender your weapons! Surrender your weapons and I give you my word, you shall go free! No, don't do that! Ah! What are you... James! Ah!
So I'm not sure why this one was cut. There's a pretty good stunt with Robin diving into the river. Not sure if it suggested the soldiers get drowned and that's why they cut it. But so now there's a scene in Sherwood Forest with the Merry Men, or are they?
Allah loves wondrous variety.
You see, that is why your hair is brown, and your...
Keep thy heathen words away from the ears of this innocent, or you will answer me. You know nothing of our God.
Is not Allah the God of Abraham, as is your God?
Don't trick me with twists of the devil's tongue. Come, John, come.
So it's just an extended scene where Friar Tuck does not like Morgan Freeman. So now we get to a scene with some devil worship.
What's this?
It's an appetizer.
You promised us wagons of gold.
There are greater things than gold. More land and power than you've ever dreamed of. When I rule this land, it'll be divided between just the 7 of us in this room. You get Cornwall, you can have Wales, and Scotland is all yours.
You recruit us to treason. And yet you cannot even get gold through your own forest.
No.
My lords,
Why risk life and limb for a man who cannot even snare the paltry bandit who mocked his pretty face?
Why, indeed? That's a good point, my lord. How can I control England when I cannot even control my own county? I bring in a little help. Aldred!
By God, you'd ally us with the Celts?
What can these mercenaries do that we cannot?
Very impressive.
All right, my Lord Sheriff. But you must wed royal kin before we act.
Then your claim to the throne will be legitimate.
I'm as good as engaged.
One of the longest scenes cut, and you can sort of see why. Apart from showing what hard bastards the Celts were, it didn't really have much to do with the rest of the story that we didn't already know. So next up is a scene in the castle dungeon.
Sorry to keep you hanging about. Would you prefer pain or death?
Death.
Torturing. What about you? Pain or death?
Pain.
Torturing. You see, it makes no difference.
Spare me.
Now I have heard that Robin Hood may still be alive.
So this is an odd scene, because there's always been the rumours that Alan Rickman's part was cut down. Kevin Costner thought he was being overshadowed. And there's some good jokes there. So the theatrical version has more of an alternate entrance for him. So the next scene is a bit more in the dungeon, talking to Christian Slater's Will Scarlet.
If you fail, I will personally remove your lying tongue.
And if I succeed, I want my freedom and the bounty on his head.
The lash, I think.
Sorry about that. Didn't make it more convincing.
God, let him speak.
I bring a message from Nottingham. Our man will be
Anything I can think of is the mention of the lash that got it changed.
We finished this.
Overwhelmed with happiness. Thank you for asking. Yes. All is well. I got all my money back. Robin Hood's probably dead, and I'm going to be king. All as predicted. I want you to tell the hangman I don't want to see any broken necks in the morning. I want to see some dancing. Don't touch that. I can do that myself. Thank you very much. Been spying on me, you little insect? Well, who else would have made art? Where are you?
You come early. The signs have not aligned yet.
Well, you can stop all that, you old fake!
I will try for thee anyway. The Union, the blood of the Lion and the House of Nottingham. New power, new soul.
I found the hole! You dare to spy on me! I want the truth.
Why? Truth has never served you before. Truth didn't put Nottingham where he is today. Mortiana did.
You freakish. I despise you. After the winning you're out on the streets, without my protection, the people will rip out your black heart and burn it.
Without me, you're nothing. A straw, a flea bite, a speck. I birthed you from this body. I stole a babe in this very castle and killed it, so that you might rise in its place. You're my son. You despise me? You are me. You know from your empty soul, that is the truth. All my life, you've been a freak. But when you stud the Lady Marion, and my grandchild takes the throne, my blood, this twisted seed, will roll through him. We'll see who's freakish then.
So that's probably the longest scene added to the extended cut. And it was a lot of Rickman, and he found out the witch is his mum. So now a few scenes from the big finish. Just a few extra clips of the child being hung in the extended cut. So this is one of the changes I heard about before the extended cut came out, was where Christian Slater swears.
Fuck me, he cleared it. By me, he cleared it.
In the theatrical cut, he says "blimey," and in the yeah. So up next is a very problematic scene. So this is where it gets tricky, because I remember that scene with the legs in the cinema getting a very big laugh, so that's why I remember it. But obviously it wasn't in the VHS version I used to watch a lot. So next up is the fight at the end. So much like throughout the film, it's a bit of gore that's been added back into the film. So that is what's different in the extended cut of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, except for there is one major difference right at the end. In the end title features the Everything I Do For You song by Bryan Adams' music video. The other does not. But of course I had to mute it, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So thanks for watching. Here ends the lesson.